Welcome to our program. A mystic and spiritual master once said, "The most beautiful moments in life are those moments when you are expressing your joy, not when you are seeking it." Well, we invite you today to join us and this very mystic as he takes us on a journey to express and explore life, love, and laughter. Please welcome Sadhguru Jaggi Vasudeva. Sadhguru, welcome to the program. How beautiful is that, Sadhguru? We spend our lives seeking and endeavoring, and here you're saying, express and be, and those are the most beautiful moments.
See, after all, human experience is entirely generated from within. So if you take charge of this mechanism, human mechanism, if it was in your control, obviously you would generate the kind of emotion and experience that you want. If you created the experience that you want, I believe, and I'm 100% certain, that you and every other human being on the planet would choose highest levels of pleasantness for themselves.
True.
So if they were in highest level of pleasantness, naturally expressing it would be natural. And work, as we see it today, you will see always people are telling people to work hard. Nobody is telling people, or even our children, we are saying study hard. Nobody is saying study joyfully, work joyfully.
So true.
Because they think joy will come at the end of the job. After you've done what you have done, joy will come. This means it'll come, probably you will laugh from your grave. No, the first thing is the nature of your experiences you have taken in your hands, then activity. This is how life should happen.
Even to explore and express our life, water is critical. And your current, it's like a clarion call actually, the call to save our rivers, rally for rivers, to share that with us.
As a nation, in the last 70 years, in our struggles to survive a huge population, to make this happen, we forgot many fundamentals. I'm not trying to blame anybody. We were in a survival mode, how to feed our children, how to clothe our people, how to provide shelter. You've heard about roti, kapada, makan.
Right.
This has been our focus. In this focus, a few fundamentals we forgot, and that fundamental is soil and water. Rivers have been the lifelines of this nation and of every nation in a way. We are a culture, a civilization which have grown out of a riverbank.
All rivers in India are at a dangerous level of depletion.
That means, in another 15 to 20 years' time, most of our rivers will be seasonal, they will not be perennial.
If you just fly over India, you look down, you will see entire India looks like brown desert. When we say water, rivers are the most important aspect of water in our land. Our lakes are not so large, but our rivers are the main source of water for us. We have over 400 rivers in the country, and major ones. All of them are depleting in a huge way On an average, they've depleted over 40% in the last 70 years. My engagement with mountains, forests and rivers is from a very early age. For me, in my experience, they never were a resource. They were living embodiments of life, far bigger than you and me. From the age of 12 to 17, almost every day I swam in Kaveri. When I was little over 17, I rafted down Kaveri, 163 kilometers, on 4 truck tubes and 10 bamboos. I tied them together. For 13 days, I was on the river.
Wow.
I did not experience the river as a water body that we can make use of. I saw it as a live force,
Right.
much bigger than me. And in many ways, I became a part of it. So in the last 25 years, I've been watching this with some concern, but particularly in the last 7–8 years, the depletion of rivers is very steep. And today, all the studies are pointing out by 2030, more than 60% of our rivers will be seasonal, and only 50% of the water requirement that is needed for this population will be available. Already, Kaveri has depleted over 40%, Narmada is over 60%, Krishna is over 60%. 3 to 4 months they're not touching the ocean. What has been a perennial river for millions of years is becoming seasonal. In this there are many aspects. It's not just about our utilization of the water. Indian freshwater bodies, particularly our rivers, have over 1,000 species of fish.
Okay.
Nowhere else on the planet is this possible. We even have dolphins, freshwater dolphins. But when the river becomes seasonal and it goes dry, how many of them become extinct, nobody knows. There is no proper study to tell us that this many species have become extinct. Some environmentalists make a guess that at least 15% of fish species in the country may be gone for good in the last 25 years. So, somebody may think, what's wrong if some fish goes away, what's the problem? We must understand when worms, insects, fish, birds, animals start disappearing, you and me are next in the line.
True, very true. And when we also talk of a river, Sadhguru, I think it's so deeply linked, other than providing us a physical necessity, river is flow, water is purity. There is momentum, gati jisko hum bolte hain, in a river, and I think somewhere we just have speed in our lives, but very little flow because direction is missing.
So when we say a river, these rivers have been the crucibles of civilization. Our very nation is named after a river because we are off the river bank. You just imagine today, if you want to build a town, maybe you build it around a highway or where there is Wi-Fi.
Right.
But right from ancient times, we always built cities and towns on the riverbank because that was most essential. And we have kind of misunderstood this and misused this. As I said, we've been in a very strong survival mode. At 1947, what our economic condition was, what our healthcare condition was, to improve that, we forgot a few fundamentals. When I say forgetting a few fundamentals, for example, see, if a river has to flow, there is something that fundamental that everyone needs to understand. There are two types of rivers: glacier-fed rivers, ice-fed rivers, and forest-fed rivers. In India, only 4% of the river water is ice-fed. The remaining 96% is forest-fed. What is ice-fed is a question of global phenomena. We cannot control that, we cannot improve that just like that, because it's a global thing. But everything else is forest-fed. What forest-fed means is, in this country, we get an average of 45 days of rainfall. This 45 days of rainfall, what comes down, is supposed to flow for the next 365 days.
Okay.
Full year. If this has to happen, when the water comes, if there is substantial vegetation, Because of the root system and the entire network of activity that's happening there, the water will percolate this way and slowly, drop by drop, it comes out, rivulets, streams and rivers, this is how it happens. But now we have removed vegetation large scale. Because of that, when rain comes, it goes this way. This is the cycles of flood and drought you're seeing in the country right now.
Right.
This is simply because the fundamental ecosystem we have disturbed. If you want water to be retained in the land, you need vegetation. Without vegetation, you cannot retain it. So this misunderstanding, because there is water, there are trees, must go. Because there are trees, there is water, we must understand this. No river is born in a city because there is no substantial trees. Always rivers are coming from mountains. There is no snowfall there. The only reason why it's coming down is because still there are trees. And it attracts rain and it holds rain and lets it go as it is needed throughout the year. So, another thing is our soil condition has depleted. See, we have done many things in this country in the last 70 years. We built businesses, our science has developed, our technologies have developed. While our scientists are going to the Mars, many great things we have done. But the greatest achievement in this country is, without any serious infrastructure or technology, just with traditional knowledge and wisdom, our farmers are producing food for over 1 billion people. This is the greatest achievement in our country, that we don't have to go begging somewhere for our food. We make our own food because we have a land which has been rich and a 12-month farming land.
Right.
But the soil condition today is alarming because in states like Punjab, Haryana, Marathwada, some parts of Tamil Nadu and Andhra Pradesh, the organic content in the soil has gone down drastically. According to the United Nations, if soil has to be considered soil, there must be a minimum of 2% organic content in it. Today, all these places that I mentioned, the organic content is 0.05%, not 0.5, 0.05%. This means this soil is slated to turn into sand in the next 3 to 5 years' time. In the next 40 years, they say 60% of the land in this country will not be cultivable because we are turning soil, rich soil into sand, because if you take off all the organic content, it'll become sand.
Right.
If you want to put back organic content, see, first of all we need to understand when we grow a crop, let us say we grow a 1 ton of crop from 1 acre, whatever the crop, what we have taken out is 1 ton of topsoil.
Yes.
If you have to put this back, there are only 2 options, the leaves from the trees and the animal waste. The trees are already gone, animals are all traveling to other countries. If you eat an animal, this is not the problem. Millions of animals are going away from the country, you must understand these are not animals, this is our topsoil going into some other country. So when this happens, how will you replenish the soil? The crop that you take out, how will you put it back? What is the source? No leaf, no animal waste, you cannot put back anything. This is simple wisdom that every farmer knew, every farming family knew this, that if you have 5 acres of land, how many animals you must have in your house, how many trees you must have on your land, is not rocket science, everybody knew. Unfortunately, we started talking all textbook science and we lost our sense. If science has to be pursued, it must be pursued in a profound way. If this happens with 1.3 billion people on your hand, I want you to just imagine where we will go. So, this has to be done. This is not something that I do or you do, so this is why I'm making it to all the people. That is, see, everybody who consumes water must be a part of this. This is not about blaming, oh, they built a dam, oh, they used it like this, they built a city, that's not the point. All those things were needed. We did all those things because we thought they were needed, right or wrong, all right? That's not the point.
Right.
Now, the question is, are we willing to take correct action? Now, for this to happen, because rivers are concurrent subject between center and state, I thought I should get the concurrence from the states for the center so that they can consider this better. This is once in a lifetime, not in our lives, once in a lifetime in a nation's life.
I beseech all of you to participate in this in whatever way you can. When I say all of you, I mean everyone who consumes water. To have our rivers flowing, to leave this land rich and well is the best gift we can offer to the future generations of this nation.
So I'm driving from Kanyakumari to Himalayan foothills, covering 16 states. Chief ministers in all the states are participating. This is concurrence. Openly they're saying they are with it. So concurrence has come. Now another aspect of bringing an implementable policy to revitalize rivers is, if we aggressively implement this, it will take 10 to 15 years of implementation, because there are huge financial outlays involved and many complexities in the execution of the aspect.
Okay.
If it takes 15 years, it will take another 5 to 10 years before you actually see river waters rising, the flows rising. So, it will take 20 to 25 years to see real results. This means 4 to 5 governments would have come and gone. Maybe I will be gone, maybe many leaders will be gone. So, to implement a policy which is of that long-term implications and it involves much commitment, people of India must clearly make a statement. We are a mature citizenry. We are not waiting for freebies. If you do something for the long-term well-being of this nation, we are all with you. This is why we are asking for crores of phone calls like a vote. You are voting and making a statement so that the administration feels in comfort that they can look at this and see what they can do. They don't have to be worried how people will react. So I'm mainly getting concurrence from the states and a big yes from the people so that the government will be free to do what is needed in a scientific manner, not for political reasons, not for social reasons, but in a scientific way, what is it that we need to do for the river? And every stakeholder should benefit in this. The first stakeholder is the river. River must benefit. Next is a farmer. Farmer must benefit. This is an economic plan for him where very easily he can multiply his income.
Right.
And the larger community should benefit, and the government should benefit, and the local administration should benefit. So we have drawn out a large-scale draft policy recommendation where many scientists have worked with us. The Tamil Nadu Agriculture University is working with us, and Roorkee Institute of Hydrology working with us, and various scientists from India and also from outside working with us to come up with a solution which is a win-win for all the stakeholders involved. Above all, the rivers must benefit.
What is it about co-leading this movement that absolutely encourages you? How has the response been so far?
The response has been phenomenal. All of them, on one voice, they are together in this one aspect. This means they've all recognized that this is a serious problem. All of them are conscious about it. So that is one big thing. From a school-going child to a celebrity, to a simple farmer, to a tall leader, every one of them. Till now, I have not met a single person who's been a naysayer. Everybody says yes. But the important thing is this, across the spectrum, all types of people, you must see the innovative ways they have come up to support this. These girls are putting entire day, from early morning they're writing this rangoli on the road.
Okay.
So nobody wanted to drive on it and destroy it.
Right.
I'm saying this is India.
So beautiful.
Say, for small things we will fight, we will bicker, we'll quarrel. But when really big things come, India comes together as one. This is the greatness of this nation. This is not a protest, nor is this an agitation. This is a campaign to raise awareness that our rivers are depleting. Everyone,
When I say everyone who consumes water must rally for rivers.
Sadhguru, what is the role of thought and thinking in spiritual awakening?
See, a thought is only a handpost. Maybe this term is not used anymore, a handpost, you know. In olden times, or even today in some parts in southern India, we have this, that let us say this way to Himachal Pradesh means there will be a pointer, which is called a handpost because it's in the shape of a hand, like a man pointing.
Right.
So suppose it is written this way to Kedarnath, it only points, it doesn't take you there. Handpost is not a vehicle to travel with, it's only a direction to take. So if you climb on top of this and sit on this handpost, you are not going to get to Kedarnath. You only have to take the direction. So like this, thought only sets a direction, it doesn't take you there. Now the problem with most people is, they think it actually takes them there. In the sense, right now if they start thinking about something, they're already there in their imagination. So once you lose this distinction, what is a psychological reality and what is existential reality, you will be eternally confused.
True.
Psychological reality is entirely made by you. Existential is there. You have to live in what is there. You can't make your own stuff and live in your mind. If you live in your mind, unfortunately, you know, we got this from the Europeans, that man is sitting like this thinking.
The thinker, yeah, right.
This thinker business is essentially from Europe. In India, we never valued human thought. This must be understood in the right context, because we saw human consciousness is far bigger than thought.
Beautiful.
Human thought is like bits and pieces of the existence. Human consciousness can contain the entire cosmos. So we always focused on how to make an individual conscious rather than making him thoughtful, because you will never put this jigsaw of this existence piece by piece, it's never going to work. So first of all, there are no pieces. Pieces were made by your mind.
Okay.
Because you are using… even when we say mind, in India, we have various levels of mind. In the yogic culture, we are looking at mind as 4 parts. This is called buddhi, ahankara, manas and chitta. Buddhi means the intellect. Today, unfortunately, because of Western influences, we all think intellect is the only intelligence you have. See, the nature of intellect is like this, it's like a knife. If you ask anybody, would you want your buddhi to be sharp or blunt? What would be the natural answer?
Sharp.
Sharp.
Right.
So it's like a knife. What do you use a sharp instrument for? To cut.
Right.
So if I want to dissect you, I need buddhi, I need intellect. Now I will dissect you and see who you are. But tell me, will I ever know you by dissecting you?
No.
Is it possible that I will know you by dissecting you? By dissecting you, I may see the size and shape of your heart, but what was beating in your heart, I will never know. By inclusion, you may know, but by dissection, you will not know. Dissection is useful only to know the physical nature of the existence. Now we are trying to use intellect to know everything. You want to do everything with a knife. When you do everything with a knife, you will leave the world in tatters. In your own mind, it's all so many bits and pieces, it's driving people crazy. They can't sit at ease even for a moment,
right,
because they have cut the world into pieces in their mind.
The human being has the capacity to live in the now, yet for some reason, the past and the future dominate.
See, the entire existence is right now, okay, in this moment. Now, this is not about living in the moment. The moment you make a philosophy, live in the moment, you know, this philosophy is going all over the world. live in the moment, live in the moment. It started in America, now it's also into urban India, live in the moment. I'm asking you, please live somewhere else and show me, please. Can you?
It's not possible.
Then why such a teaching? Why do you need such a teaching that live in the moment? Because anyway, do whatever you want, you can only be the moment. You cannot be anywhere else. Only thing is, what they're telling you is, do not think about yesterday, do not think about tomorrow, which is what you were referring to in some way. I'm saying, it took millions of years of evolution to get this kind of cerebral capability that I can remember what happened in 1,000 years. And I can project what I want to do in the next 100 years. So, this much capability to get here, nature had to do enormous amount of work for a few million years to get your cerebral activity to this level.
Okay.
Now, simply because somebody has not learned how to handle their cerebral activity, now they are saying, destroy this because thinking about the past, thinking about the future is freaking us, let's destroy this, let's be in the moment. What they're saying is, see, if we remove half their brain, they will be living in the moment.
Okay. Right, well put. But that half brain and the tragedy of the being is they will also be cluttered with a lot of baggage. What is
No,
our
you
propensity?
can remove some more.
Yeah, okay. Till there's a no brain.
No, little brain enough to just amble around in your house, eat and
Right.
drink and sleep.
Right.
You can do that. That may anyway happen to a lot of people in their old age,
Right.
okay? But the significance of being human is, I remember the yesterday vividly, my experience of yesterday, and I can imagine tomorrow's yet-to-be situation vividly and create that.
So that's the empowering part of
That
being a
is the
being.
most beautiful part of being human.
Okay.
Just because the problem is this, you have been given a supercomputer and you did not bother to read the user's manual. Without you reading the user's manual, you try to handle this, it's a mess. And now because it's a mess, people are saying, you must dull the mind. Do not remember yesterday, do not think about tomorrow, just do what you're doing today. You will do innocuous, meaningless things. You cannot do anything significant. The power of being human is, we remember not only our experience, we remember the experience of the entire world.
Right.
Yes?
Absolutely.
This is what makes us who we are. Because of this, that we don't have to actually go through what 1 billion people have gone through, in some way we have made that our experience. Because of that, we can imagine something that we can create tomorrow and human life goes on. Now the problem is, all this is coming because joyless people invent these philosophies. They feel little peaceful when they don't think about yesterday and tomorrow. Yes? That's the only problem. So I am talking about a chemistry of blissfulness. You know, all human experience is based in your chemistry. What you call as joy, what you call as love, at least for love everybody is using the chemistry business.
Okay.
But for everything, every human experience, your anxiety, your tension, your depression and your ecstatic moments all have a chemical basis in your system. Now, I can teach you a simple way where you have a chemistry of blissfulness, no matter what's happening in the world. Because after all, it is your physiological and psychological situation that you have to manage. You can't manage the cosmic situation. You only have to manage your physiological and psychological situation. If you manage this well, the world is there, always. What you can do in the world and what you cannot do in the world is determined by how well your physiology and your psychology is managed, isn't it?
So true. Is spiritual awakening an individual process dependent on the self, or does the collective play a role in it?
Collective can create an ambience. So the reason why this culture saw the maximum number of enlightened beings right from ancient times is because the society invested in that direction. Because society invested in direction, naturally right from an early age people were oriented in that direction, so it produced lots of yield. Like for example, anything technology means everybody wants to go to Silicon Valley. You think in that valley technology is growing? There is an ambience where everybody is thinking that and driving towards that. So, Lot of technology happens there. It is not that people there are specially endowed or that place is geared for technology, nothing like that. They have created an ambience where everybody thinks technology, acts technology, so obviously many things come out of it. Similarly, we invested in inner technologies, how to manage this one to its peak. Because of that, we produce results. Unfortunately, we moved a little bit away. It's time we get back this nation there, because as external technologies grow, like, robotics is growing big time. Suppose the robots start doing all the work, okay? Next time I come, you have a Doordarshan robo interviewing me, all right?
Okay, right.
See,
I shall
your job they'll take, not my job.
Okay, I shall be careful with my facial expressions, they might just keep me.
So, I'm saying when it takes all the physical jobs that we are doing and even reasonably intelligent jobs that we are doing, what are the human beings going to do? They are supposed to be joyful, blissful and do something else, which no mechanical thing can do, isn't it? But are we geared for that? This is what we geared for, right from ancient times. If everything is well, then what?
Right. You're so right, Sadhguru. We are really not geared to handle joy. And there are many people who feel guilty for feeling joyous, Oh, I can't be happy all the time.
No, that's because most people's joy is only in other people's failures. Yes, people are enjoying what others don't have.
So warped. That is so warped. Sadhguru, you also say that action does not produce karma, your reaction does.
Volition.
Okay.
See, action is just a physical thing. The intent and the volition behind it is what produces karma, because karma is an internal thing that you're doing. Your thought, your emotion, your intent produces more karma than physically doing something. See, right now, I took this glass in my hand, it slipped out and jumped and hit you in the head. Accident. This is one kind of karma, of negligence.
Okay.
Or I took this and threw it at you because I don't like what you're saying to me. This is another kind of karma, because the intent is to hurt you. Or I want to take this and bang it on your head, but I don't do it out of my civilization. I'll hold it back, but I did it a million times in my mind. This is a far deeper karma. The impact of it on you is much, much bigger than actually throwing the glass at you.
Because you're still harboring it.
Because you will do it 1,000 times.
In your head, true.
If you do it physically, you do it only once. So this is not an endorsement that all of you throw things at everybody. The thing is, you must understand, when you create resentment, when you create anger, when you create jealousy, you are generating poison in your system. You drink poison, but you expect somebody else to die. Life doesn't work like this. You drink poison, you die. This is a very fair world.
Right, true. So, everybody has this whole bit about, assessing. We assess people, we think of people, we judge ourselves, we judge people, and we have this whole bit about morality, moral values, my value system, his value system, universal value system. What is morality? What are morals, moral values?
Last week, I've been in a bit of a controversy because I said India doesn't have morality. Of course, they misunderstand this. I said this nation has been run on human consciousness, not on morality, but on humanity.
I agree.
We always aimed at how to stir up your humanity, because that's what you are, essentially. You are a human being, you are not a moral being, naturally. If your humanity is on, you do the best things. But if I tell you you must do good things, you will find devious ways to do just the reverse of that, but within the legal system or the moral system of that society. Nobody need to impose humanity on me, I am a human being. Maybe unfortunately a lot of people forget that, but essentially you're human. Being human means just this, that between other creatures and us, see, they are born, we are born. They grow up, we grow up. They eat, we eat. They sleep, we sleep. They reproduce, we reproduce. They die, we die. Only thing is, they do it smoothly, we do it with a lot of fuss. Yes? But the fundamental difference is, all those simple things that every creature does, we also do, but we can do it consciously. That's the big difference. So there is nobody to rev up your consciousness and your humanity, so we try to fall back on morality, but that's not in our DNA to take morality from somebody. Because even if those entities that we considered as divine came in front of us, we only ask questions.
True.
When Shiva spoke, Parvati asked 1,000 questions. When Krishna spoke, Arjuna is full of questions. Because we are not used to taking commandments from people. Even divine entities come, we will ask questions because we understand in this country a human being has to evolve. A human being can't be just fixed with 5 or 10 morals and say, this is what you do. It's never going to work. We saw that constantly we have to strive to evolve, and this is your making. This is why we told you it's your karma. How you are is your karma. You are joyful, you are miserable, your karma. This looks cruel when you look at it from outside, but this is the only way, this is the most dynamic way to exist. Only if you understand that your misery is your making, you will transcend it. If I think my misery is because of you, will I ever transcend this?
You know, I'll just keep blaming, and that'll become the rut of my life.
Yes.
You know, right. Sadhguru, when we talk of celebration and every moment being a celebration, life being a celebration, there are different kinds of celebrations. There are also collective celebrations. We celebrate Janmashtami, we celebrate Mahashivratri. What is the role of celebrations?
See, people think celebration is an effort to be joyful today. They are throwing parties every weekend. Parties used to be only for the names that you suggested, Mahashivratri, Janmashtami, this, that. But at one time, there were 365 festivals in this country in a year. For everything, there was a celebration. That celebration was an expression of our joy.
Okay.
Today, people are going to party. If you don't give them the drink and the drug, they cannot be joyful. They're trying to be joyful. There's a big difference between trying to be joyful and expressing your natural joy.
Like you said it so beautifully when we started the program, and with your quote to say it's in expressing your joy, and that's the true moment.
Celebration is an active expression of your joy. I may be joyful, but now 5 of us, 5 joyful people got together, then it's an explosion of this.
Okay.
But right now, 10 people are getting together and trying to be joyful. And to be peaceful, you need a chemical. To be joyful, you need a chemical. To be loving, you need a chemical. For everything, you need a chemical. So you are desperately trying to be joyful. This will take a huge toll on humanity as time goes by, you will see. So this is important. We must understand the most complex chemical factory on the planet is your own
The human
body.
being, right.
So when you have such a fine and sophisticated chemical factory, you don't have to buy chemicals from outside. If you were conducting this, if you were well managed, isn't it?
Right.
If your industry was run by a good CEO…
You don't have to hire one.
Yes, you don't have to buy stuff
That
from
is
outside.
So true.
See, look at me, I'm always drunk.
On joy, on gratitude,
On just life.
On life. Very beautiful. If you know how to manage your being, if one knows how to manage one's being, why would one want moksha? Because if you can manage it, it's a beautiful world. The challenge, as you said very beautifully, was because we don't know how to manage this. That's where the problem
No, I was
arises.
only talking about managing the body, the physiology and the psychology.
But what
You
about
don't
the spirit?
manage the being.
Okay,
The being wants to be liberated, always. This is not my idea.
okay.
See, every human being is always trying to push the boundaries in their life, isn't it? If they try to push it in a basic way, they want to be something more than who they are right now. If they try it in a basic physical way, this is called sexuality. What you're trying to do is, what is not you, you're trying to make it a part of yourself. It may work for a few moments and then it doesn't.
Right.
If it finds an emotional expression, we call this love. What is not you, you're trying to make it a part of yourself. If you try it mentally, it gets labeled as ambition, conquest, greed, or simply shopping.
Okay, okay.
So if you find a conscious expression, we call this yoga. Yoga does not mean twisting and turning. Yoga means union. You became one with everything successfully. So then we say you are in yoga. Your practicing yoga is different. Yoga abhyas is different. You have become one with everything, means you are in yoga. Are you in yoga, are you practicing yoga? Two different things.
Okay.
So a yogi means somebody who's known the union of the existence. So today modern science is going about explaining everything in the universe is the same energy manifesting itself in many different ways. If this is so, why is it that you're not experiencing something? The problem is you're using one dimension of your intelligence, which is a cutting instrument. With a cutting instrument, you're trying to find union. As I said, you're trying to stitch your clothes with a knife.
Right.
You'll only have tatters.
True. And many lives are in tatters, many people are in tatters, many thoughts are in tatters.
They don't
and
need
that's
any
the
help from
struggle.
outside.
Right.
They're able to do it by themselves.
Physical fitness is very critical to our being and good health. And what better way than to start your morning with a bit of that? Let's take a look.
Surya Kriya is a powerful process of activating the sun within you. When I say activating the sun within you, sun is in every aspect of whatever you see on this planet. Fundamentally, it is the solar energy which is driving life on this planet. So when we do Surya Kriya, we want to generate that energy within the system. There is a cousin to Surya Kriya, which is a Surya Namaskar. Surya Namaskar is a kind of practice that evolved out of Surya Kriya. Surya Namaskar is largely a way of saluting the sun, but Surya Kriya has more spiritual intentions. Surya Kriya has more powerful connotations attached to it.
Surya Kriya includes several aspects that enrich one's life, develops mental clarity and focus, remedies weak constitutions, boosts vigor and vitality, balances hormonal levels in the body, prepares one for deeper states of meditation.
Sadhguru, children are more tender, their consciousness is probably less cluttered. What are some things that we need to be careful with children and start working on their being or allowing their being to grow earlier?
As long as adults don't mess them, they're quite fine.
Yeah,
I
keep
must
away,
tell you this.
hands off, okay.
No, total hands-off won't work. If parents do hands-off, somebody else will put their hand. See, you're not the only influence on your child. There are all kinds of forces. So you can't say total hands-off. I must… You know, my girl grew up with me. When she was 3.5 months old, I was driving across the country with her. This is the time I'm building the foundation, so I'm driving every day. My hand on her, in the front seat, I strap her, just a 3.5-month-old infant.
3.5 months old?
Yes.
Okay.
Just my left hand here, my right leg down, full speed and on in the country. So every place I go, I hand over to some… Every day I'm in different homes and families. They did a wonderful job, every one of them. But you know, adults have this problem. When they see a child, they want to teach the child something that has not worked in their life.
Ah, nice. Lovely. Yeah.
Why I'm saying this? Obviously it's not worked.
True.
Because between you and your child, who is more joyful?
The child.
Child. So who should be a consultant for life? You have no business to be advising the child because he knows life better than you. You may know a few survival tricks, but you don't know any better as to how to be. Child knows better.
Yes.
So I saw that people have this urge and I told everybody, nobody will teach this girl anything. No ABC, no 1, 2, 3, no Mary had a little lamb. I don't care whether Mary had a lamb or not. Nobody will teach her anything. So because nobody teaches her anything, she's all ears and eyes. And by the time she's 18 months, she was speaking 3 languages fluently because she's listening, she's got ears.
Wow.
Like this. And she grew up without any influence like this. So when she was 12, 13, she was disturbed with something that happened in the school, and she came home and she said, "You're teaching everybody so many things, you don't teach me anything." I said, "Well, I don't do things unsolicited. Here you come, so this is all you have to know.
Okay.
Never look up to anybody." Then she looked at me, "What about you?" kind of expression. I said, "Not even me, because if you look up to me, you miss me totally. If you look at me the way I am, there's immense value to who I am. But if you look up to me, maybe you will want to nail me to the wall. And maybe you will do puja to me, but you will miss the entire possibility. If you look at me just the way I am a different possibility. If you look up to me, you miss it. And never look down on anybody. Never look up to anybody, never look down on anybody. This is all the teaching. If you do this one thing, you will see everything just the way it is. When you see everything just the way it is, you will navigate through your life effortlessly.
Wow, that's powerful indeed, and not only for a child, holds for each and every one of us, and the child in each one of us which we promptly kill as we pretend to grow.
No, they must grow, but unfortunately, most of them have not grown, they still remain children, and a lot of people claim as if it's a great thing to be a child. See, when you were a child, you desperately wanted to grow up, isn't it?
Right.
But now you want to be a child. What's the problem here? See, suppose you got stuck at the age of 6, both in body and mind. Would you think it's a great thing?
No.
It's not something that you aspire for, but now that you've grown up and you don't know how to handle your adulthood, now you want to be a child. This is not good. It's wonderful to be an adult. If you become a conscious, mature adult, it's fabulous to be an adult.
Right. And I think somewhere, Sadhguru, this brings to thought that we associate being joyous only with children and not with adults. And that's so incorrect.
That's the whole thing.
Beautiful.
So you were only joyful when you were a child. Because you messed up, you think that was better. No, this is better.
Yes.
Being an adult is far better. If only you are a conscious being. If you are a conscious being, you would do the most pleasant things to yourself, at least within you. What the world may do to us, we don't know. What world throws at us is not our choice. What the world throws at us is not our choice. What we make out of it is 100% our choice. This is what it means when we say it's your karma. That means your experience of life is entirely your making.
Wonderful. Thank you
Thanks,
so much, Sadhguru, for making this a truly wonderful journey for all of us.
Make Rally for Rivers happen for this country.
Right.
For the future generations of this nation. This is a responsibility that we have to fulfill, that we at least make an effort to leave this nation and leave this world in the ecological sphere, at least the way our parents gave it to us.
So true, very true.
At least we must strive to do that. Thank you very much.
Absolutely. Thank you, sir. Today, as we are talking of celebrating our rivers which are not in a good state, we have this very beautiful piece of music which is closely linked to Rally for Rivers. Every day is special, not only in the now, but also in history. Small and big occurrences have happened across the world. Let's take a look at today in history. We trust, hope and believe that you did enjoy this wonderful conversation with Sadhguru. Do write into us. We look forward to your feedback. Our email ID is aajsavere@ddkdelhi.org.in. हम सबके साथ जुड़ने के लिए बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद. अगली बार तक नमस्कार.